Hello, friends. Welcome to this week's Monday Motivation, the healing power of forgiveness. Well, let me begin with a question. Is there someone you feel deeply hurt by, even years after the fact? Most of us carry at least one story like that. There's just something or someone we need to forgive, and we just haven't found a way to do it. Someone said something that cut really deep for me, or someone left when we needed them most, or they didn't show up when we needed them most, or someone betrayed our trust, or perhaps we hurt someone else. Well, those are things I've dealt with during my lifetime, all of them. And even if life moved on, a part of my heart stayed stuck in that moment. Today, I want to talk about forgiveness, not as a quick fix, as something we force, but instead, it's one of the most powerful tools that we have for emotional healing. Forgiveness may be one of the things that we don't understand, or it makes us be really vulnerable. And it's hard to practice. But if we're willing to be vulnerable, we can do it. Many women carry wounds for years, words spoken in anger or betrayal, abandonment, moments that changed everything about a relationship. We tell ourselves we've moved on, but something inside still feels heavy, not not finished. We didn't get closure. Today, we're talking about why forgiveness matters and how it can help us heal. If we haven't met before, my name is Terri Sterk. I am a wellness coach and author, and I serve women like you and like me, those of us who have experienced challenging seasons in our lives. My aim is to help you nurture wellness of body, mind, and spirit. Many women carry wounds for a very long time. And an important part of healing that we don't talk about enough is forgiving ourselves. Some women are far harder on themselves than anyone else could ever be. We replay past decisions, words we wish we could take back, or moments when we believe we should have known better. Over time, that quiet criticism, I said quiet, huh? Well, the self-criticism can become a heavy burden. And sometimes that's what we need to forgive, forgiving ourselves. But growth means recognizing that we were doing the very best we could with what we knew at the time. Self-forgiveness doesn't ignore responsibility. It acknowledges the mistake, learns from it, and then releases the shame so healing can continue. The same grace we're often willing to offer others is the grace we also need to extend to our own hearts. When we begin to do that, then we can stop living defined by our past and start living from the wisdom we gained from it. So why does forgiveness matter? Forgiving others who we feel have done wrong to us, that can make us angry. And when we hold on to anger, we think it protects us. It can feel like letting go means saying what happened was acceptable, but that's another lie that we tell ourselves. The truth is, unforgiveness often keeps us tied to the very pain we want to escape. Resentment has a way of quietly living in the background of our lives. It shows up in our thoughts, it shows up in our reactions. Sometimes it even shows up in our bodies through stress and exhaustion. We think we're holding the pain, but eventually the pain is holding us. That's what's the truth is. Forgiveness isn't about letting someone off the hook. It's about taking your life back. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. One of the most important things to understand is what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness does not mean the hurt was okay. It does not mean the situation was fair. It does not mean you trust that person again. And it does not mean reconciliation is required. Forgiveness is something different. It is the moment we stop allowing the wound to define our future. It is choosing peace over carrying bitterness for years. Sometimes forgiveness is quiet and deeply personal. Sometimes it happens long after the person who hurt us is no longer even in our lives. But when it happens, something inside us begins to loosen. We begin to heal. We begin to carry a lighter load. In chapter 7 of my book, Nurture Emotional Wellbeing for Women, I discuss forgiveness as a step toward emotional restoration. Many women minimize their pain. They tell themselves it wasn't that bad, or I should be over this by now. But healing doesn't come from ignoring our story. Healing comes from acknowledging it and being honest about it. Forgiveness begins when we allow ourselves to say, that hurt me. It hurt bad. We don't say it with bitterness or anger, but with truth. Because when we name the pain, we can finally begin to release it, let it go. Forgiveness is a process. One of the biggest myths that forgiveness happens in a single moment, and it can't. It takes time. And maybe if you've spent years bearing the feelings, it will even take longer. But sometimes you can just move forward quickly because you've been mulling in this for years. More often, forgiveness unfolds slowly, though. It begins as a decision, a quiet moment where we say, I don't want this pain to control my heart any longer. But our emotions may take longer to catch up, and that's okay. Healing moves in layers. Some days we feel free, other days the memories return and we start all over again. That doesn't mean we failed, it simply means we are human. Sometimes forgiveness is something we practice again and again until peace finally settles in. There is a cost to continue to hold on. Holding on to that pain is incredibly heavy. It drains our emotional energy. It can affect our relationships. It can even shape how we see ourselves. When we hold on to resentment long enough, it can start to feel like part of our identity. But that was never meant to be our story. You are more than what someone did to you, or even what you may have done to someone else. And forgiveness can be one of the steps that helps you reclaim that truth. For many of us, forgiveness is also deeply connected to faith because scripture reminds us over and over again the power of mercy and grace. Not because forgiveness is easy, but because freedom of that pain matters. Ephesians tells us to let go of bitterness and anger, to be kind and compassionate to other people. Colossians reminds us to forgive as we have been forgiven. That doesn't erase justice. It doesn't say it was okay. It doesn't erase our wisdom, knowing that what happened wasn't right. But it does remind us that carrying anger forever was never the life we were meant to live. God understands the wounds we carry, and He walks with us as we learn to release them. If you're comfortable, take a moment to reflect with me. Think about whether there is someone you still feel resentment toward. You don't need to judge yourself, just notice. Reflect on that for a few minutes. I'll ask you a few simple questions to help. What happened that still hurts? Name it. That helps you understand it more. How has holding on to that pain affected me? Ask yourself that question. And honestly, think about that. How has it affected your relationships, your successes at work, many other parts of our lives? And what might change if I begin to release it slowly? Forgiveness means choosing to prioritize your healing over the pain. Sometimes the first step is simply being willing to be vulnerable. If forgiveness feels difficult for you, please know this. Some wounds run deep, and healing takes a lot of time. Just don't let it take a lifetime. Every small step toward forgiveness lightens the burden on your heart, and you deserve peace. You deserve emotional freedom. And while the past cannot be changed, the way we carry it can. In closing, I'd like to say forgiveness doesn't rewrite what happened to you, but it can absolutely change the weight we carry moving forward. If this message resonated with you today, I encourage you to take some quiet time to reflect on it. Listen to the replay again if it's helpful. And if you'd like to explore the topic further, you can check out chapter 7 of my book, Nurture Emotional Wellbeing for Women. Thank you for being here with me today and for being a part of this thriving community. Take care of your heart this week, and always know I'm cheering for you.